Hey, it's Eric Byler for TYT Politics. Fresh off her visit to flood-ravaged Louisiana, Dr. Jill Stein had a press conference in Washington, D.C. today to talk about the threat of climate change.
We are seeing 500-year, some people call them 1,000-year floods from these extremely heavy rains that are undoubtedly related to climate change. There's no question, according to the scientists, that this is a consequence of warmer air that holds much more water, and when it's triggered to downpour, it really flows. So we call for a solution here that addresses both the economic and the climate crisis. We call it a Green New Deal. So it's not a hypothetical. It's based on something we actually did in the Great Depression that helped us get out of it, and that is an emergency jobs program that would create 20 million jobs.
With a larger than expected attendance, including the Associated Press, the New York Times, and the Washington Post, it looked at first glance as if the media was beginning to warm up to the Green Party nominee. But most of the questions and even one of the answers were laden with the subtext that she doesn't have a realistic chance of winning.
Dave Weigel, Washington Post. You are taking public financing. Every other major candidate has pulled out of that system. It seems to be collapsing. One, what would you say the Green Party is entitled to public financing because it's not gotten that much support in previous elections? And two, would you favor expanding the matching limit? I mean, there's a proposal in Congress to make it 6-to-1 for each dollar in the system.
So, I think you could bounce that question to the American people. Do they think we should just have the same two? They're screaming no, and we're seeing the Republican Party unravel, and we're seeing the Democratic Party move to the right. We have one demo Republican big corporate party right now, and the American people are tired of being thrown under the bus.
Two questions in terms of your practical hurdles. One is the Commission on Presidential Debates and their 15% criteria based on corporate polls.
So we consider the commission illegitimate. It is not a public commission, and its name is very deceptive. And we think that 15% is a disservice to the American public.
I mean, Noam Chomsky is basically telling people climate change, the very issue that you talked about, Trump is a climate denier. You got to vote for Clinton in so-called swing states.
Noam Chomsky has supported me in my home state, when he felt safe to do so. I think it's fair to say my agenda is far closer to his than Hillary Clinton, but he subscribes to the politics of fear. We could potentially win this race. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm not ruling it out. This is a crazy election. It's not over till it's over. There is a critical conversation that is waiting to be held, and once it begins, I think all bets are off about where it goes.
If that's what you say is true, why aren't you doing better?
Well, it may have something to do with the fact that, according to the New York Times, and this is now about 3 months ago, Donald Trump had gotten $2 billion worth of free media. Hillary Clinton had gotten $1 billion of free media.
I could write about today, and others could report here, about what an important issue climate change is. And we'd publish it or broadcast it. And the fact is very few people will read it, and they're going to go read or view stories about Trump's staff machinations or Clinton's email. So I'm not sure the issue is necessarily a corporate media, but what people are demanding. Why is that? What's the way around that, if there is one?
Well, let me say, we've seen this problem get worse, worse and worse. Right now, so many people are tuned out of the election and out of the political system in general because they are accustomed to being ignored by that system, and because not only ignored by the discussion, but ignored by the agenda.
She compared herself to Bernie Sanders, pointing out that the corporate media is capable of broadening the national conversation to include more progressive ideas when it wants to.
Was Bernie Sanders tuned out? I don't think so. I think he had more attention from the American public than just about anyone, at least from my point of view. He was the guy saying that the emperor had no clothes, and everyone was agreeing with him.
When asked to comment about Hillary Clinton's email controversy and Donald Trump's erratic behavior, Dr. Stein implied that she'd be a better president than Hillary Clinton based on her personal integrity and foreign policy outlook. And she said this about Donald Trump's supporters.
Polls show that the majority of Trump's supporters voters are not motivated by supporting Trump. They're motivated by not liking Hillary Clinton. So let's give them another choice besides Donald Trump as an alternative to Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so we're going to post the entire hour-long press conference to TYT Politics, Facebook, and YouTube, and you guys let us know what you think. Does the media somehow prefer the two-party system and want to perpetuate it, or is this just a case of reporters prone, as many voters are, to focusing their attention on the candidates who have a better chance of winning?
If we cannot change the discussion now, when, in heaven's name, are we ever going to change it?